If the 2025 football season has been a year of chaos and a year of upsets, then week 9 was the week of the comeback. We had comebacks all across the country in big games, in games we don't care about, and every game in between. We're going to cover all the games, or at least as many as we can squeeze in here in the next hour. This is College Fantasy Tonight, brought to you by campus2canton.com. All right, guys, welcome into College Fantasy Tonight. Again, brought to you by campus2canton.com. Matt Bruning, Austin Nace here to dive into as many of these games as we can that happened today. Looking at them really from more of a fantasy perspective, if we can do that. Man, I think this is our first time on here together in like a month. So good to see you.
It's been a couple shows. I think you had to do 2 live shows by yourself. I did a live show by myself last week. So yeah, it's been a little bit.
It's been a bit, and we never see each other otherwise. We don't do any other shows together or anything.
No,
so,
just Saturday nights. That's it.
Real quick, we will drop the disclaimer. These are our initial reactions. So obviously, if we are able to go back and watch some of these games here over the next few days, opinions might change as we dive in. But let's kick it right off here. Let's go with this Ole Miss Oklahoma game. I think this is a good one to start off with, Matt.
Yeah.
Because I thought, back and forth game. It was higher scoring than I anticipated it being. Ole Miss ends up pulling this one out 34-26. On the Ole Miss side, Trinidad Chambliss just doing his thing. 315 yards passing today. Another passing touchdown. Had 53 yards on the ground. Not a big day out of him. But Matt, your guy Kawan Lacey. You were talking about him this morning on the tailgate. You've been talking about him for years. Had a couple of rushing touchdowns in this one and a couple of receptions as well. On the receiving side of things for Ole Miss, Winston Watkins actually led them in receiving, which I thought was interesting. 4 catches for 111 yards, the true freshman there. Harrison Wallace III, 5 catches for 64 yards. On the loser side, John Mateer. I thought Mateer was awful today, Matt. I don't know how much of this game that you watched. Just crap. It was terrible. It was an awful quarterback performance. 17-31, 223 yards and a passing touchdown for him. It was interesting. They tried to get Torrey Blaylock out there, but he just didn't do anything. They swapped in Xavier Robinson at running back, 9 for 109 and 2 touchdowns for him. Also had a couple of receptions. Isaiah Sategno broke a big reception early, ended up with 6 for 131 and 1. Deion Burks, 4 for 32. Jaron Kanek, 3 for 30. I don't know, Matt. I mean, we talked about who did you pick in the thing this morning? Did you pick Ole Miss in this one?
I did. I did.
Okay. Ole Miss, you were the lone Ole Miss guy, I think. Yes. I mean, this is what you kind of expected out of this one, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of it with Ole Miss too was, again, it was about Mateer, which he has just not looked the same. And again, I don't want to say that was injury, and I think you had tweeted this out, like maybe he should come back for a year because of some of the decision making. That's not on the thumb, right? Like you can't put some of the decisions he made in that game on his thumb. But that's also kind of a thing we've talked about, even from his time, at Washington State, is like when you have a quarterback like Mateer who just makes these plays, but like sometimes that comes with the just boneheaded mistakes as well. And the plays that you shouldn't. It's kind of you live by it, but you also die by it. And they kind of died by it today. Oklahoma was not able to survive some of his bad play. And I think that some of that is just the team around him. But yeah, my thought process on that was Mateer not being that good, or not. I shouldn't be that good, but was he healthy? Today he was not good. It was really not because of the health. But also, I think, I said maybe Ole Miss isn't quite as fraudulent as I thought they were. They do seem to have a good team now. What I will say is, I don't think after watching the game today that I actually think we've been kind of proved right on this. When we were coming into the season, as we kind of transitioned C2C Live into more of a college football show, just overall college football show than a fantasy show, we both talked about how we did not think Oklahoma was quite as good as they were getting credit for in all the preseason stuff and being as highly ranked. I think we are kind of seeing that now that they're not quite, which also worries me a little bit about Ole Miss and how well Oklahoma was able to run on them at times. And I wonder if maybe that's going to be the thing that keeps Ole Miss out of the playoffs. But as we talked about earlier today, just from an overall college football perspective, Ole Miss has everything in front of them to play for now, but I thought, as you mentioned, Kewan Lacey looked good. I think you have to give Lane some props for what he's been able to do with Trinidad. I mean, you can't. I get it. He was really good at Ferris. Was it Ferris State, right, last year? But to transfer that guy up and then to be in the SEC and doing what he has done, I understand. Georgia's not quite the Georgia of old, and Oklahoma. Say what you want, still have Brent Venables as their head coach and is a very good defensive coordinator. And Trinidad has been good, and I think that speaks a lot to what Lane is as an offensive coach. So I think it was a fun game to watch. But yeah, don't disagree with the sentiment you put on Twitter or X about John Mateers. Like, after watching this game and probably the past couple, it would probably benefit him to come back for another year and see if he can improve that stock a little bit.
I mean, I think the interesting thing to watch for Oklahoma the rest of the season is these skill guys stink.
Yeah.
They're not very good. I want to say completely across the board, but like they are barely rotating these receivers in and out. Giovanni Gibson has JV Gibson written on the back of his jersey, and man, that dude should be playing JV. Like, drops all day, like just doesn't. He's not an SEC quality player. I can't believe they keep rolling him out there as the third guy now that he's healthy. They should. I mean, I don't know who you go to at this point because I don't know what else that's really behind him that's any good. But I mean, it's the running back. The running backs are not great. I mean, the offensive line. This was one of the big things that we talked about preseason. Was like, we're just not sure if this offensive line's any good.
Yeah,
in the more difficult part of the season. I mean, they rolled out 2 true freshman tackles today. That might get better over the next couple of years, but obviously it doesn't help you now. So going to be interesting to watch them rest of season. Memphis, South Florida. Matt, did you get your eyes on this one at all?
I did get my eyes on it a little bit. I wasn't like fully committed into this game, but I did watch a little bit of it. Yes.
Yeah, big comeback. I thought this game, Memphis had that like the pick 6 or like an interception that they scored off of real quick, and then South Florida scored like 21 straight. And I was like, okay, this game's going to be a blowout. And lo and behold, Memphis came back and won this one 34-31. Brendan Lewis. Shout out to Brendan Lewis. Who I have badmouthed for years and has been pretty darn good this year. 307 yards passing today, a couple of passing touchdowns on the ground for them. They didn't get a lot going actually today, which surprised me. Well, it didn't surprise me because we talked about it this morning. Like, USF's got a pretty legit front seven, but I wouldn't have guessed Memphis would score 34 points when they got basically 100 combined rushing yards out of Sutton Smith, Greg DeRozers, and Brendan Lewis. And that's exactly what happened in this one. DeRozers did have a rushing touchdown. Cortez Braum, leading receiver on the day, 7 for 75 and 2. On the South Florida side, Byron Brown, 121 yards rushing and 2 rush touchdowns, 269 yards passing and a passing touchdown in there. Sam Franklin busted like a 60-yard touchdown run, didn't do much the rest of the day. Keshawn Singleton, 7 for 88. Jeremiah Coger, who I believe is a true freshman for them and has been kind of coming on the past few weeks, 5 for 78 and 1 for him with no Chaz Nimrod this week. I mean, shout out to Brendan Lewis. That's all I've got to say about this one.
Hey, he's a guy that I like since last year when he played Nevada. I mentioned, at that time picking him up. I did not expect him to even transfer to Memphis. We had conversations about, what this was going to look like. Because let's also be honest, he's a little bit different than what Memphis has typically had at quarterback. And I think there was some concerns about whether he would be able to translate. And I didn't have him super high, but I thought, hey, maybe he'll make it work. And he has. I should have listened to you guys today. You and Mike Valerie both said, hey, start him over Bryce Underwood. 35 points on the day. Bryce Underwood, I think, is rocking a strong 13 right now. Doesn't look like it's going to cost me against one Felix H. I can't speak right now. Felix H. Sharp II, because I am beating him by a good 20 points right now. I don't think he's going to be able to come back and beat me in that league anyway, starting Bryce Underwood. But yeah, Brendan Lewis has looked good in this offense. Shout out to them. And shout out to them for possibly now putting themselves back in the discussion to be the G5 team. I mean, I think it was going to come down probably between them and South Florida, and now they have the head-to-head because they end up playing each other for the championship.
They very well might, because Memphis has a loss already, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it was UAB, so I don't think that was in conference, right? Or is UAB in their conference?
UAB's in their conference, aren't they?
Are they? I don't remember. UAB is just so bad. I don't really pay attention to what conference they're in. If you want me to be 100% honest with you.
Well, no more Trent Dilfer in there, so things might be turning around.
Yeah, and that's what turned it around for him. And in fairness, that was the same thing. Memphis got down early.
UAB's in the American.
Let's see here. Okay, so I was trying to pull it up. So right now you got, which actually I didn't see. I know Navy was losing. I don't know if Navy ended up actually losing today or not. Navy
No, they
is
won.
okay. So Navy is still undefeated in their conference, as is Tulane. So Memphis and USF now, because they both have the one loss in conference, looks like they'll be kind of possibly not even getting a chance to play for the thing. Because Navy right now, Navy's gonna. Well, they won't lose in conference. Oh, they get South Florida and Memphis. Never mind. So both of them have a chance to. I guess
That'll
it'll come
work
down
its
to
way out then.
what Navy side. Let me pull up Tulane's schedule real quick, actually, because I don't know. Tulane plays Memphis in 2 weeks, but they do not play USF. So that USF still has a chance, obviously, if they win out the rest of the way to make it into championship. I think it'll probably come down to that Tulane-Memphis game then to see who goes in from that side possibly. So, yeah, I mean, Memphis looked good today. Shout out to them. Shout out to Brendan Lewis, and kind of boo on you, Alex Golesh and USF for throwing that away. You had a chance to really kind of solidify yourself as you had a chance to solidify themselves as the G5 playoff contender.
Not going to get a new job that way, Mr. Golesh. That a couple of big comebacks we've already talked about here. Texas, Mississippi State. I don't know how much Texas was down by at one point, but I know I turned it on. And I was like, this is over. And I kind of didn't watch like the second half of it all.
Well, they scored 24 unanswered points, and I believe it was 17 or maybe it was 24 in the fourth quarter. I don't remember. It was like 38-14, I think, when I did the same thing. So I was with my girlfriend Scarlett. We were watching. She's a big Aggies fan, so we were getting ready to go watch the game somewhere. I was watching the Alabama game. I had Texas up on the quad box. She only likes watching because she likes to see Texas lose. When it was at that point, I was like, there's no point in having this game on anymore. Let's just take it off the screen. So we put something else up, and then we got to where we were going to watch it, and all of a sudden I look up, I was like, it's 38-38. What the hell happened? So, yeah, I mean, shout out to Texas. I watched the overtime, obviously, but I did not expect that to happen. I'm sure Texas fans were thrilled.
I'm sure. And they, finally got a good performance out of Arch Manning. 29 for 46 for him, 346 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns. Did have a rushing touchdown as well, but left in the overtime period. Took a bit of an awkward hit, kind of drove him into the turf. I couldn't tell exactly what the injury was, and I haven't read too far, and I'm just like too busy watching other games to go and look this up on Saturdays and figure it out.
So it looked like when I was watching it, they were looking at his leg, but I wonder if it was more of like a concussion concern because of the way his head got drove into the ground. Yeah. So, because they were helping him walk off the field, and I didn't notice any kind of considerable limp when he was walking off. So I wonder if maybe that's what it is. Obviously, they haven't said anything that I've seen. I was kind of watching and looking at stuff as we were watching the A&M LSU game before jumping on here. I haven't seen them say anything. I haven't seen Sark say anything. So I don't know yet if it was anything else in that. I mean, again, they did pull him out. They threw in the backup quarterback who I forgot his name. I think it's Matthew something for the overtime, the rest of that game, just to drive down the field and end up getting the touchdown. I actually threw a pretty good touchdown pass to give them the lead there. So, but yeah, hopefully he'll be back. I mean, I hesitate to say a great game out of Arch. This is kind of the thing I say. I mean, if you have to throw the ball 46 times, I don't know that that's a good thing. Did put up, a decent amount of yardage though, and did get, as you mentioned, 4 touchdowns overall. So hopefully he can kind of turn this into a better performance. But overall, at least Texas got the win. They're still kind of in the hunt for everything that they want to be in the hunt for.
Well, we've talked about this a bunch of times lately that they just can't run the ball. 32 carries today for 72 yards. I mean, Trey Wisner, the leader on the day, 12 for 41. I mean, the line is just terrible. They can't run block. They don't pass block amazingly. They're lucky that Arch is, for all his flaws this year, been pretty freaking good at evading pressure back there, because they could be in some real big trouble if that wasn't the case.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough, John. That's rough. Sitting Joey Aguilar and Haynes King while starting Sam. Sam Levin's looked horrible tonight. Although I think he's dealing with it. I don't know if you watched any of that game. He got knocked out in like the first drive, came back in, but he has not looked good. But yeah, starting Sam Levin, Parker Navarro over Joey Aguilar and Haynes King. Yeah, Haynes King had a day. I don't know if we're going to talk about the Georgia Tech game, but he set records today, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Sorry,
it is on here. It's pretty far down.
I'm all just jumping in here. ready to rock and roll. I haven't looked at any show sheets yet. I just want natural reactions.
Yeah, Sam Levitt's not been great. These receivers are pretty bad for them too, though. It's pretty surprising that they've been this bad at finding wide receivers out of the portal, because it's like all portal guys. Pretty crazy there. Receiving wise, Ryan Wingo actually had a big day, a couple of big catches, 5 for 184 for him. Emmett Mosley apparently heard me all week because he had 2 receiving touchdowns. Parker Livingstone had 2 touchdowns, basically did nothing but catch touchdowns today. Jack Endries, 4 for 25, DeAndre Moore, 6 for 53. I mean, I think this is kind of what we thought we were getting out of Texas passing attack this year. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll see. I mean, hopefully Arch's injury isn't anything serious. If maybe it was just a precaution thing. I mean, again, at that point, when the backup came in, I think it was like he had like 2 or 3 passes. They got into the end zone. It was pretty much game over because they stopped Mississippi State on the next drive. So hopefully it was nothing serious, and Arch is going to be fine. I don't think that they want to roll the backup out there the rest of the season, and it shouldn't. Hopefully they can build off this. It was definitely overall an impressive performance for the offense again, especially what they did in the fourth quarter. If you, again, would have told me going into the fourth quarter that this game was going to be where it was, I would have called you crazy. So shout out to them for the fourth. I'll say the fourth quarter. I don't say a good game. Great fourth quarter for the Texas Longhorns.
Mississippi State somehow ended up on like their own 30 at the end of their overtime drive.
It was
a real bad.
I think it was like a 4th and 20 when they got on the thing.
And then they fumbled backwards or whatever. Yeah, it was real bad. Real bad.
Sam Levitt's getting the crap kicked out of him in this game.
Yeah, they need to just yank him. This game's over. Mississippi State, Blake Shapen did throw for 381 yards and 4 passing touchdowns. Devon Booth had 100 yards rushing today, or just short of it, 99 yards, and had 3 for 85 and 1 receiving. With No Fluff Bothwell this week. Brendan Thompson, 6 for 76 and 2. Anthony Evans, 5 for 71. Sadie Traore, 6 for 60 and 1. I don't know that we have a lot to say on the Mississippi State side. I mean, that's kind of the distribution you would expect more or less here out of Mississippi State. And they just kind of do what they do. We're talking comebacks. Talk about this Alabama-South Carolina game. A little back and forth. It looked like Alabama was more or less done, and then they pulled a little rabbit out of the hat, ended up winning this game 29-22. Ty Simpson, it was so funny because this is the week that you finally gave Ty Simpson some credit, and then he actually wasn't terrible himself. He missed a couple of throws.
Man, y'all are too nice.
I didn't think he was terrible in this game. I think Alabama, similarly to Texas, they just can't run the ball at all. It's baffling to me because I actually don't think they have a bad offensive line. So I don't know if the running backs all just stink or I mean, I think besides Jam Miller, they all kind of do stink, but Jam Miller can't run either. So it makes that offense kind of ugly and really dependent on Ty Simpson to do something. He did have 253 pass yards and 2 passing touchdowns. As you mentioned, Jam Miller, 10 for 26. Jeremy Bernard had 2 touchdowns on the day, 54 yards through the air and 23 on the ground. Ryan Williams, 7 for 72, had a really bad drop on, I think it was a 4th down play. And it wasn't the best throw ever, but he really should have caught it. Daniel Hill also somehow had 4 for 76. I must have missed what happened there because that dude's like 500 pounds. I cannot believe he got 76 yards through any particular avenue, but here we are. On South Carolina side, just real quick, Lenore Sellers, 222 yards passing and a passing touchdown, had a rushing touchdown as well. Another team that just can't run the ball worth a lick, Rashul Faison. It seems like he's maybe getting phased out a little bit because I didn't see he was in this game till the end, but Matthew Fuller actually was getting more carries than him. Both of them pretty much equally ineffective. And then Nick Harbor caught a 54-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, look, on the Alabama side of things, you can say what you want about Simpson being fine. The big thing I noticed from them, and again, it's something that I've noticed before. It's why I hesitate to say he's good. I get it. He's having a good fantasy year. He missed a lot of throws in this game. I don't think this game would have been close as it was if he doesn't miss some of those plays. It was Ryan Williams wide open on one play. I think it was on like a 3rd down where he beat his cornerback running like to the right across the field, and Ty Simpson just threw it like completely over his head. All he has to do is lead the dude to the sideline. That's an easy 40, 50-yard touchdown. He missed Jeremy Bernard on a couple of plays as well, and that's something that he's done, and I think a lot of it, which I guess in somewhat is fair, a lot of it I think is because South Carolina was getting a lot of pressure on him in this game and pressure in his face, and that is where he really tended to struggle. which I guess in some ways fair because that is what happened in the Florida State game as well. They were getting a lot of pressure on him. We do see quarterbacks tend to struggle when that happens. So like I'll give him I'll cut him a little bit of slack on that. But yeah, it was not a great game for him overall on that. And I don't disagree with you on Ryan Williams dropping that pass, but in my opinion, there was a lot of throws in this game where Ty Simpson was just not making the throws that he needed to make in this one. I think if he would have, this game would not have been as close as it was to pretty much coming down to Jeremy Bernard on his rushing. But I can't remember if it was like an end around or what it was. I just saw him
they
like the run.
Faked like
Just
a toss
Ty
back to
Simpson.
Simpson or something too. And then like they just had a caravan in front of him and South Carolina let him score.
Yeah. Had that not happened like that, South Carolina possibly ends up winning this game. So like it's a lot of this one was, in my opinion, more on Simpson's bad throws. But I will say, like, I don't think he actually played horrible. I'm just joking a little bit on that. But he missed a lot in this game. I think had he hit some of those, this would not have been as close.
I mean, these are the games that you circle when you say that he's a day 2 draft pick, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't think he's a round 1 guy. I've been pretty staunch on that, even though I think he's been, performed pretty darn.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think that's been my argument the whole time. It's not that I think he's a bad player. I just don't think he's getting hyped up as he's the best quarterback in this class. I'm like, okay, but if that's the case, then there's not going to be anybody going in the first round. Because like I don't think Ty Simpson's a first round guy either. Like I think he's a fine college quarterback, and he is showing that. As I think we talked about it may have been on C2C Live, or maybe it was on this show last week or a couple weeks ago, whatever. And Felix posted, okay, well he's QB 13. Okay, that's great. Like you can be a good college fantasy quarterback and not be a good quarterback overall. Like we've seen that happen, and that's just kind of my thing. He's going to keep Keelan Russell off the field. He's played well enough for that. Which is where I was wrong. I did feel like Ty Simpson was going to be bad enough. Yeah, at this point, there's zero chance Keelan Russell gets on the field, which is fine. Again, he's proven me wrong on that point. He's been good enough. But I guess I'll ask you this question because I'm curious to hear your answer. I'll say I don't think Simpson's good enough with the team he has around him for Alabama to win a national championship. And that's kind of my concern with him. I think he's fine, but I don't think that he's good enough to win a national championship. And like that's where, again, I think I don't know. I think I disagree with obviously certain people who have been propping Simpson up again as a first round pick, best quarterback in this class kind of thing.
I think they can probably beat any team in the country, except I think they do not match up well at all against Ohio State. I think they would be in extreme trouble against Ohio State. And Indiana's one that I question a little bit as well.
Sorry, I can hear Scarlett yelling touchdown in the background. I assume Texas A&M just scored. I don't have that game up.
Aren't they blowing them the heck out? I mean, I saw they were doubled up.
When you're a fan, we're about to talk about Pitt for no reason here in a minute, Austin. What are you talking?
Pitt for no reason. The teams combined for 80 points. It's college.
I mean, that's fair. They scored 53. I saw that. I just saw that and I was like, we're gonna. Okay, I get it. Well, it's more also because I saw your comment in the in our founders chat as well to Colin. I was just like, oh, I guess it's all be honest. I did not get eyes on that game at all today. So I was like, oh, I guess he did really good today. So
full disclosure, Pitt is the next game on the list here. We have had some real spirited arguments over the past few weeks when we've debated who should be the freshman of the week.
You and Colin, because I've been on your side.
Yeah,
actually.
by we, I mean Colin and I. Because Colin's a Penn State fan and he won't give Mason Heinschel any credit. Well, he's got to do it this week because Mason Heinschel threw for 423 yards and 3 pass touchdowns. And what is this? His 4th game as a starter for Pitt? We're going to talk about that here in a minute.
Against a decent defense. Well, let's finish the Ty Simpson thing real quick. And because I don't disagree. I think Indiana and Oregon as well. Oregon, I still think is a really good team. And with the pressure they have shown sometimes to get on quarterbacks, I think they could. But I don't disagree. So like, if you want to put them as like the 4th team there, then like, sure. I don't know. I think I just find it hard to think that they could actually win a national championship with Ty Simpson. But again, I could be wrong there. But yeah, let's talk about, a true freshman who could possibly within his career take a team to the playoffs and a national championship in Herschel here.
I mean, he's been freaking awesome the past few weeks. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where this dude came from. I mean, I was aware of him before this year, obviously. Alan True came on our yearly show that he does with us and said that he was one of his big sleepers in the class that he thought could outperform. I have to shoot Alan a DM because I feel like even he would probably not have thought that this was going to happen here this year. I mean, this dude's just a freaking flamethrower out there every single week. He's not scared at all. He might have a case right now for like QB4 in the class.
I mean, yeah, possibly with how
He's
well he's
been
been
really
playing.
good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he has. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't get any eyes on this game, so like I can't tell you, but I'm just looking at the stats. I mean, 400 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. I mean, yeah. Again, NC State I know hasn't been great this year, but
Yeah, not
typically have
great
had like
this
at
year.
least a decent defense under, for life of me cannot remember the head coach's name at the moment, who might be on the hot seat at this point with how bad NC State's been the past couple of years, but it's been there for a long time. But they've typically had a fairly decent defense, and I don't think anybody had on their bingo card today that Pittsburgh was going to go in there and put 53 points on them. So,
yeah, I mean, if you told me that at any time this season Pitt gave up 34 points to an opponent, I would assume that they would probably lose the game.
yeah.
But not the case here today. In terms of beneficiaries on Pitt, in terms of the Heinschel production here, Kataris Hicks, which is actually a name that I don't really know very well. He's a guy that's been a little down the depth chart this year, but 4 for 120 and 1 in this one. Kenny Johnson, 7 for 112 and 1. Raphael Williams, 5 for 62 and 1. On the ground, Ja'Carrion Turner stepped in for Desmond Reed, who I believe left this one with an injury, had 50 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. And Desmond Reed did, I mean, before he went down with injury, at least get you some points. He had a rushing touchdown, a couple of receptions as well, about 70 yards total on the day.
Yeah, to me, the more interesting side to talk about outside of Heinschel being, they don't have like a rookie of the year thing in college football, but I think if they did, he would be in the argument for freshman of the year, probably winning it at this point. Are we out on CJ Bailey now? Because he was kind of a guy coming into the year a lot of people were excited about, right? Is like possible fringe decent draft capital. I did not watch this game
this year.
so.
He's been decent this year. I mean, the thing about him is he really doesn't make any mistakes, and he does put the occasional wow throw out there. I don't think his receivers are amazing. Like overall, and like Teddy Hoffman's the newest kind of freshman that's breaking out a little bit, but like they feel like they have a guy every year and then they just kind of fade into obscurity. Like I don't think the receivers are all that great for him. And he's still a little inconsistent with stuff. I think he's still like the processing is still catching up for him a little bit. It seems like to me at times.
Okay.
But I don't think this year he's done anything to like damage my opinion of him. I don't know that he's really taken that next full step as well either, though.
Yeah, but that's kind of what
he is. Maybe.
Yeah, you need that. I think for again, it's more of like a people were talking about him as a possible like sleeper for the draft class thing. Like he just hasn't taken that step, which has kind of been my concern with him. Again, he's still got time, so like I think he's got 2 more years of eligibility.
Yeah.
Left if he wants it. So I mean, there's not saying that he can't, end up being a decent draft pick, but would have liked to see more step from him. It's a game I have recorded to go back and watch. Excited to see Noah Rogers 26 yards and a touchdown as well. Finally doing something for NC State.
It's always like a rant like him or Wesley Grimes has basically that same stat line like every single week, essentially for them. I will say, I mean, the guys like Bailey, guys like Heinschel, even they're free squares essentially. Like obviously if you drafted this year, Bailey had cost, but if if your league's older than a year, these are the kind of guys that if you can stack them on rosters successfully, you can really just accrue value. And that's what we talk about all the time with some of these quarterbacks. Like, Lenore Sellers was a real cool pickup as like a 10th round sub draft guy. Really not cool. And you have to take him at the 103 because you just don't feel that great about him. There's a lot of guys like that. So yeah, and talking about it, I mean, with Reed going down again, Ja'Carrion Turner could be a really nice stash moving forward for Pitt as well. So just to throw that out there. On NC State side, Hollywood Smothers had 8 for 86 and 1 on the ground, had a couple of catches for 25 yards as well. Justin Jolie, I didn't see that he came back in. He was riding the bike after. He caught a long touchdown pass on a trick play actually from Teddy Hoffman. And then like 30 yards away from the end zone, pulled up and like hobbled in like the Greg Jennings video, which was pretty fun. He did finish the day with 6, 101 and 2 though. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all the notable performances there on NC State's side. But and yeah, I mean, we haven't heard any talk about Dave Doran being on the hot seat, and he's probably earned enough grace there to have a little more time. But NC State's definitely been underwhelming this year. I do agree.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see if he ends up being on the hot seat because again, he's one of those kind of like, what do you want to put it, like legacy coaches that were for what he's done there, kind of thing. So I'm trying to pull up. They just posted something on Arch Manning. Yeah, Arch Manning. I don't know why I was thinking that was the wrong name there for a second. Arch Manning's injury, and I was trying to pull up to see if there's actual any injury on there. But yeah, I would imagine Doran will still get some time. And I mean, NC State it kind of is what it is. So
yeah, that's one that might have just run its course here. We'll pay attention to that. Kansas State, Kansas. Kansas State, I think a lot of us, me included, I don't know about you, Matt, kind of wrote them off after that slow start to the season. I did too. But you did too? Okay. They've been hot here recently. They win again today, 42-17 over Kansas. Avery Johnson, not a bad day. I think they're starting to take a little bit of load off his shoulders if they can. They realize that he's not a guy that's going to drag them kicking and screaming anywhere. 11 for 17, 231 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, had a couple of rush touchdowns as well. Joe Jackson as the lone kind of RB today with Dylan Edwards out, 20 carries for 69 yards. Jace Brown, 4 for 160 and a touchdown. And then Lincoln Cure, 2 for 18, was like their third leading receiver on the day. Just thought I'd throw that out there. He's been playing a little more lately, which is exciting to see for him. They're playing him as wide receiver too, by the way. He's playing like out wide, like boundary snaps, at least the past few weeks, according to PFF. So, which is interesting. No thoughts on Kansas State?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he was a guy that we really loved just because of his athleticism, right? What?
Oh, sorry.
What?
It must have lagged.
Sorry. Did I freeze that for a second? My bad.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
I was reading the Arch Manning thing, but it was still talking in my ear, so I was waiting a minute. Yeah, I mean, Lincoln Cure was a guy that we really liked on the recruiting side of things because of how athletic he was. He's a guy that I actually drafted in quite a few places because I was excited about what he could possibly do on the team. I have started him multiple times this year on a couple teams. I just haven't had a bunch of good tight ends. I didn't get a ton of eyes on this game. I was kind of watching it on one of the, like it was on my quad box, was not like a team game that I was super tuned into. I think it was the Jace Brown touchdown. There was a touchdown that Avery Johnson threw that was actually pretty nice. There was a lot of rain in this game too, if I'm remembering correctly.
There was a lot of rain everywhere today. It seemed like.
Gotcha. Well, trust me, I'm aware. The reason I'm here actually is, thankful for the rain. So, there's a lot of rain all over the country. Yeah, but it was overall. I mean, look, Avery Johnson, I'll admit, like, has been better than I thought he was going to be. Especially after those first couple of games earlier in the season, I was like, Kansas State might be heading for a really bad season. They've done a really good job turning it around.
Matt was supposed to be at the pumpkin patch tonight for anybody not.
Yeah, it's I don't want to undersell this either. It's called Pumpkin Nights. It's like an adult pumpkin patch. They have like shows, adult drinks. Also, it's not like you go pick out a pumpkin, take a couple pictures, and go home kind of thing. It's like a really cool thing here. They have like all these decorated ones, glow in the dark, a haunted house there, all kinds of stuff. But torrential downpours here in Texas. So
sounds
next
fun.
Weekend. Halloween night. Follow me on Instagram.
Ooh, very spooky. Very spooky.
Yeah, we're gonna go on Halloween night. Yeah,
For Kansas, the wheels have kind of fallen off here a little bit, Matt. Jalen Daniels started off the year really hot, and then since then, I don't know if he's injured again or what's up there. But only 129 yards passing tonight. No passing touchdowns. Did have a rushing touchdown of the day. Daniel Highshaw, 67 rush yards and a touchdown. Emmanuel Henderson has done nothing since that 300-yard game, which we kind of said was probably what was going to happen. It's just, I mean, they've been really bad. And I know some Kansas fans are kind of mad with Lance Leipold, which I think is interesting. I mean, he kind of took him out of the dark ages. You wonder if maybe it's just time to find something else. Who knows?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with the way the talks are. And I think Kansas is kind of dead in the water at this point. If Leipold doesn't, this might be his best chance to take one of these jobs that are opening and go to a bigger school that might be willing.
Who wants some at this point? He's kind of a gimmicky guy. That's the thing with him.
Here's the thing. I think Wisconsin might still take him as a guy who, what did he win? 4 with Wisconsin Whitewater? Is that right? It might even been more than that. The national championships or whatever at that level, Wisconsin Whitewater, would Wisconsin take him if they end up firing Luke Fickell? Arizona State's coming back. We're talking about the day of comebacks. It's about to be 16-24. Sam Levitt with a nice touchdown pass right there.
Because they could have him and give him the ball to Dean Connors at all. This is what happens.
But yeah, I would be surprised if he ends up leaving. Maybe he just takes a year out and then comes back. Everybody, it's kind of, what have you done for me lately? Take a year off college football. People forget how bad you were in your final year. But I don't know how much of that is on him either. Like, Kansas just doesn't have a lot of the players. Look, like Jalen Daniels, I think he's a fine college quarterback, but clearly, like, since the injuries a couple years ago, it feels like he's just not really completely bounced back. And like, when you don't have a quarterback that can kind of run that system, I think you're just kind of, I was going to out of luck. I was going to say, out of luck. So I don't know. I think Kansas is kind of falling behind here, and I'll be curious to see what ends up happening with them, because I still think Lance Leipold's probably going to be a name that people want. If Kansas fans want him out, the one thing I will say is, I don't know that you're going to be able to get much in there, and I don't love a lot of what they have on their team right now either.
Careful what you wish for. I mean, it's really hard to, and I think it's an interesting. I don't know how much NIL stuff they have. I mean, I'm assuming the basketball program is pretty robust with the money, but I don't know how much of that they actually give to the football team. Like, they just bargain hunt, like dumpster dive every year.
Yeah.
Like, really going to get guys that just were like terrible at their old school and kind of hoping they'll work out here. And that's just, I think if you're a Power 4 program, instead of doing the dumpster dive for the P4 guys, you should be looking potentially at this point for like the high performing G5 guys. Almost seems like the better route to go. They really haven't been doing that. So I don't know. I mean, Henderson, LaShawn Williams, like these are guys that just like couldn't cut it wherever else they were, and they're like heavily relying on them. So
yeah. I mean, right now I was looking at. Oh, of course they don't even have the football recruiting. I was trying to figure out where they were rated in their recruiting class right now, because again, I don't love even what they have on their team right now. I didn't realize USC had jumped up into the top as the top recruiting class.
Yeah, for a while.
Overall in 2026. I must have missed that. I'm scrolling pretty far. They're currently the 35th ranked team in recruiting right now. So it's not bad. I mean, with Houston, Boston College, Rutgers. So, maybe, I think that's one of those things where be careful what you wish for, as you said, with losing out on Lance Leipold. But we'll see.
Washington, Illinois. We'll see if Washington's ranked after this week. Their fans were calling for it all week. They win this one, kind of running away with it, 42-25. Damon Williams had himself a really nice day. Gale warning, whatever is what Damon Williams said to that. So we discussed this morning. 26 for 33, 280 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 66 rush yards as well. Jonah Coleman, 14 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Added 4 catches, 32 yards, and a touchdown through the air. Denzel Boston, another huge day, 10 for 153 and 1. Actually threw a touchdown pass as well. Desmond Roebuck, 3 for 36 and 2. Raiden Vines-Bright, 4 for 28. Decker DeGraff had a receiving touchdown. I mean, it just the guys that step up for Washington stepped up today for them in a really big way. Just real quick on the Illinois side, Luke Altmaier, 199 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, added 48 yards rushing. No real standout rusher on the day. Caden Fegan, 5 for 32. Aiden Lafferty, 9 for 30. Khalil Valentine, 7 for 27. And then Hank Beatty led them in receiving, 6 for 73 on the day. Yeah,
I mean, look, the only player I want to talk about is Damon Williams. I mean, we really liked him in that recruiting class. I'm pretty sure we had him higher than the services.
We had to have.
I mean, I remember I loved the kid, and I think we had kind of compared him to, I don't remember who. I mean, it wasn't a great comparison overall, because he was a little bit smaller, but dude's been, I thought, honestly, outside of the Michigan game, I thought he's looked really good so far this season. I think he was listening to the show today as we talked about, he's going to have to do it on the ground because of the gale warning. Then he goes up there and throws for 4 touchdowns. Like, really great game for him. And look, I will have Washington ranked. I'm happy. I'm excited to be back on C2C Live this week. I know we typically do our top 25. I don't think you and Chris did it this past week.
We didn't, because we realized that basically none of us had done it correctly, and it was 5 minutes for showtime. And we had.
I knew I didn't finish mine. I think I'd ranked like 18. I didn't have a chance to finish mine. I was not feeling great earlier this week. Look, I mean, The biggest thing that's going to hurt Washington on possibly making the playoffs is I believe they play Oregon as their last game of the season, but they should win out the rest of the way. It'll come down to that Oregon game because, again, I don't think a 3-loss team in the Big Ten is probably going to get in. I don't know if they beat Oregon either, but like Washington's having a really great season, and I think you should be excited about, again, for a Washington team that lost a lot in the transfer portal when Kalen DeBoer transferred out and Jed Fish came in last year. And it was one of those things that like, this is not looking good for Washington. This could be a multiple year like project turnaround. He's turned it around so far, at least from the looks of it right now in year 2. Very excited to see what Damon Williams does next year and in year 4. Cause I don't know that he's an NFL guy. So I think they're going to get 4 years, or he's going to get 4 years out of his college experience. Obviously that first year, not with Washington. Wait, he was with Washington last year, right? Because he followed Fish over from Arizona. That's what it was. Yeah. I'm excited to see what he looks like in year 3 and 4 there with the Huskies. They're a very exciting team at the moment.
You think he follows Jed Fish to Florida this year?
I don't think Jed Fish goes to Florida at this point. Do you really think he does? Is Fish from that area?
An alumni. Yeah.
Is he? I did not know that. Interesting. Well, that would be insane to jump 2 years after. I guess it's possible. I hope not. I hope he doesn't. I mean, it would be fun to watch Damon Williams kind of light up the SEC as well. But no, I hope that they stay at Washington.
Washington fans get a little prickly when you bring that up, understandably. Georgia Tech, Syracuse. Georgia Tech 41 wins this one 41-16. We mentioned Haynes King earlier, and here he is, 304 yards passing and 3 passing touchdowns. Went 25 for 31 as well, by the way. Pretty great there. And then 91 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Other performers for Georgia Tech, that was kind of it. Really spread this thing around. Malachi Hosley, 8 for 81. Rushing on the ground, was the leading rusher on the day. And then a couple of guys had a handful of catches. Jordan Allen, 6 for 67. Bailey Stockton, 4 for 48. Eric Rivers, 5 for 43. I mean, this is kind of what Georgia Tech is week in, week out. Yeah. Really, Malachi Hosley is kind of interesting. He's a guy that came up from FCS and has been pretty decent for them this year and maybe be the next running back at Georgia Tech. But I mean, this is mostly the Haynes King show at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Haynes King has been good. Georgia Tech is ranked number 7 right now?
Yep.
I mean, I don't have their schedule pulled up in front of me, but I think there's a realistic shot Georgia Tech's making the playoffs. They're undefeated. So the record that he set, because I was looking at it earlier when they were talking about it, he set the record for the most, the highest single game completion percentage in Georgia Tech school history with an 80% with minimum 30 attempts with a rating of 80% pretty much, or 81 if you round up with the 8.806. So great game from him against a Syracuse team that, man, they've taken a step back. Look what happens when you lose Kyle McCord, guys. You know, everybody talks about how bad a quarterback he was, but hey, Syracuse was actually rolling.
Watch what happens when you lose Steve Angeli. They were kind of pretty rolling this early this season too offensively.
I want it to be Kyle McCord, right? I want it to be Kyle McCord. Yeah, sorry. I was really hoping it was going to be. I really hope Ricky Collins was going to be good. It is not looking like he is going to be. Yeah. It'll be interesting. I do think Syracuse bounces back. You're not wrong. I forgot they did look pretty good with Steve Angeli earlier this year. Maybe they just need that kind of quarterback. But good for Georgia Tech. And I mean, I know they play Georgia at the end of the year. Like
they played Pitt the week before that too.
What's Pitt's record right now?
Pitt has lost 2 games. They're 5-2 or 6-2. I don't remember.
Pitt's out of it. Never mind. No offense. I hope Georgia Tech beats them. I would love to see Georgia Tech make the playoffs.
I mean, Pitt could technically make the ACC championship game because SMU lost today.
Yeah.
So
but I'm thinking more of but I think there could only be one ACC team that makes it. And so I'm thinking, if Georgia Tech makes it into the ACC championship with 1 loss and they get that second one, I don't think the committee would hold it against them and still let them in the playoffs. If their 1 loss is to Georgia in the season and then they lose in the ACC championship or whatever. If they lose to Pitt and Georgia and then in the ACC, I think they're out. So
there's no chance.
It'll be interesting. I mean, look, Georgia Tech has everything in front of them. Like I said, they're undefeated right now. What a season. Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt in the playoff discussions. I gotta love college football.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to apologize for the take that's about to come out of my mouth, but I don't think Georgia Tech's actually any good. They haven't played anybody yet this
Man,
year. They're like barely
probably not.
scraping out wins. I mean, it's a cool story and I'm happy for them, but like the people that get offended that you won't rank them higher, like they don't, I wouldn't even rank them top 10. Like,
I don't think I did. I think I had him at 10 this past week.
yeah,
I don't
that's
think I
about
had
where I
him
would
higher
have
than
them.
that. Yeah.
Like,
I
what's
mean,
their best win this year? 3 points over
Clemson.
Clemson. Clemson's
Probably.
bad.
Yeah.
They've barely scraped by Wake Forest. They barely scraped by Colorado.
Well,
Like,
hey,
this
look,
is
here's the thing. You know, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this because we talked about it this morning. Y'all were saying BYU was fraudulent. BYU went out there and did it again today. The Cougs, baby.
this was their first convincing win in a while too.
It was. They came back too, and that one. Talk about comeback day.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, all I'll say is if Georgia Tech does it against Georgia, they'll get their roses. They will get their roses if they do it.
Oh, for sure.
Sorry, I just got a text of Death Valley. Who I was talking about? Death Valley is like a hard place to go play. Hey, first time in what 31 years? I'm guessing. I'm not watching. Sorry, these text messages are sending me out of here. Anyways, was it first time in 31 years? So congratulations. I'm assuming I'm not watching the A&M game. I have the Florida State.
I turned it off a while ago.
Yeah, so did I. So,
speaking of BYU, they're next up here. Why don't we just talk about them? 41-27 over Iowa State today. Bear Bachmeier, 307 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, had a rushing touchdown as well. And then really the only other performances on the day were the top 2 receivers here. Parker Kingston, 7 for 133 and 2. Chase Roberts, 8 for 128. I didn't really get to watch this one. This is one that I have recorded to go back and watch later. But I mean, I'm interested to see. We talked about it on one of the shows either this week or last week. I think it was Campus Life with me and Colin. A lot of the Bear Bachmeier stuff has been like low difficulty type. Like he's been like, I'm not knocking freshmen for performing, okay, ever. But I think sometimes you have to kind of look at it on a sliding scale and say like, is what they're asking this dude to do like difficult stuff? And Bachmeier is a guy that like it's kind of been like dink and dunk, kind of easier stuff. Hasn't been asked to make too many difficult throws. So I'm interested to go back and watch this one because that's a pretty good statistical, just performance there for him.
Yeah, I mean, so I had it on the quad box. It was not one that I was super focused on. I was kind of going back and forth. I don't know who caught the touchdown to put them ahead, but Bachmeier underthrew it, and the way he went up and mossed the defender to get the touchdown catch and kind of go into the end zone was fairly impressive. I'm with you. I have it on the board. I'm hoping to get to it tomorrow or Monday just to kind of watch the full games. I was going kind of in and out of that one with some of the other games going on. But yeah, props to them again. You know, I had said it last week. If they beat Utah, I thought that they were going to prove that they weren't fraudulent anymore. And they did it again here against an Iowa State team where, again, they were down. I want to say it was by at least double digits at one point in time earlier in this game because I didn't catch like the first part of the game, and when I looked at it, I was like, oh wow, Iowa State's beating them that bad. It's like maybe Austin and Mike were right, and this is just not Iowa State's going to come in here and beat BYU, and then they turned it around, came all the way back, and just props to them. And hang on, I'm trying to see Jeff Sims is now in at quarterback. Wow.
Not ideal.
Not when all you got to do is drive down the field and score, and you have a chance to tie this game up.
I would make Jeff Sims pay me NIL money to have him play on my team.
Did you just see that first throw?
Yeah, it was not good.
That was good. He was wide open. Come on, Levitt. Get back in there, baby.
Jesus. Yeah, he's terrible. I would definitely make him pay to play. On the Iowa State side of things, just real quick to highlight again, neither of us were able to watch this game today, so we'll be digging in later this week. Rocco Beck did have 300 yards passing, but 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Carson Hansen, big day, 16 for 152 and 2 for him. That's kind of the first big game that he's had in a while. Abu Sama did get some carries in this one as well, 9 for 63 out of him. And then on the receiving side, they did the normal Iowa State really annoying thing this year where everybody has 3 catches. So there is that. Let's see here. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. I don't know that we need to delve too much into this game, Matt, but I think it's worth noting Will Hammond left this game with a knee injury. So, what's that look like going into next year? Kind of the presumptive starter next year. Did have 102 yards passing and a passing touchdown before he went down. And I believe the second quarter. Did not realize Mitch Griffiths was there. That was that was news to me when I saw that he was the third string guy. And I guess apparently they made what's his name, Baron Morton, get dressed at halftime, but they didn't need him. Cameron Dickey, 13 for 47 and a touchdown. Jacoby Williams had 2 touchdowns in this game, one long one receiving, and then a 99-yard kickoff return to open up this game, actually, I believe. Caleb Douglas had 98 yards receiving and a touchdown. Coy Eakin, 5 for 48. So I think kind of standard Texas Tech stuff there. Oklahoma State's terrible. There's literally nothing on their team to talk about. There's no ray of sunshine at the end of the thing here. If you're Oklahoma State, I wouldn't even bring Haas Haney back this year. I would try to medical redshirt him, and we're on to next year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch this game at all. I expected Texas Tech to win easily. Wasn't expecting to be 42-0 easy. But yeah, the big thing
you didn't expect 42-0?
I don't disagree. Oh yeah, when I looked at one point, it was 42-0 in the third quarter. I was like, "Oh, this game's done." I'm surprised they didn't score any more in the fourth quarter. But no, I thought Oklahoma State would put up. They haven't been horrible since Gundy got fired. I don't know if that was like the coach. They've been scoring some points. I think they're going to get blanked today. I thought they'd do something.
Okay.
I'm listening to head coach talk about Hammond's injury.
Describe it as non-contact. I think that's all they've said. I don't know that they have any like news that's come out yet, unfortunately. So we'll have to pay attention. But yeah, I mean, I guess they scored 27 on Baylor.
Yeah, well, Baylor's not that good either, which we're about to talk about. But no, it was so yeah, he said that it was happened, I guess, on he planted his foot and then something happened. And then he said he couldn't really kind of read what happened, but they'll do an MRI on him tomorrow. So not great news. That's probably not a we'll see you back next week kind of injury, unfortunately, would be my guess.
Yeah, and I think it sounds like if they were able to get Morton dressed at halftime, he's probably close enough anyway. They figured they probably didn't need him for this one, and they figured right. Last game up here on the list, Matt. I don't know if there's any others that you wanted to cover after this, but Cincinnati, Baylor. Cincinnati wins 41-20. Really, really, really weird stat lines. Really, really, really weird stat lines. Nobody did anything, and Cincinnati killed them. Brendan Sorsby had 111 yards passing and 2 passing touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown. Tyree Walker, 84 and a touchdown. Evan Pryor, 66 and a touchdown. And then Cyrus Allen was the leading receiver, 3 for 36 and 1.
Yeah.
Joe Royer had a 12-yard catch. Jeff Caldwell had a 5-yard catch. I mean, they did nothing, and they crushed poor little Baylor. Baylor, we talked about this morning. I literally will never roster another Baylor running back ever again. You cannot make me. I don't care. I would rather give up playing fantasy football than ever have to rely on a Baylor running back again, because they're playing this stupid carousel again. Michael Turner led them on the day, 14 for 90. Bryson Washington had 7 for 23. If he's that injured, just don't play him. I don't understand what's going on here. Maybe. I mean, maybe Caden Knighton 3 for 10. Passing wise, I mean, Sawyer Robertson only threw for 137 yards today. Josh Cameron, the leading receiver, 4 for 34 and 1. At least Michael Trigg got you something today if you had to roll him out there, 3 for 30 and a touchdown. I mean, geez. This is a coaching staff that I think should be under a lot more scrutiny than they are.
I agree.
I would not have let them on the plane last year, or maybe that game was at home. I don't remember that they blew against Colorado. I would have fired him. I would have fired him in the tunnel.
Yeah.
I would have not allowed him past the tunnel.
Oh, I agree. I mean, that was 100% a Dave Aranda thing as a defensive-minded head coach, and that why you don't just throw everybody back in some kind of like prevent coverage. Knowing Colorado has to score a touchdown was had to be a 40, 50-yard throw, and you throw and they just let it. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. No, I'm with you. All I'll say is I'll roster Michael Turner, like the kid coming out of high school. He's looked pretty good for Baylor.
Bad news, Matt, because the fact that he's leading them now means that he's going to be absolute dog crap next year. So
fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times. I don't care if it's Michael Turner. That's what I'm saying, baby. I'm all in still. Love the kid.
You did like him. Yeah.
I did.
Was he coming off a knee injury?
He was. He tore his ACL hit right before his senior season, which was, I think, if I'm being on it, not trying to say that I was dealing with, that was, I think, yours and Matt's kind of biggest concerns. We don't because like he had good athletic numbers, but it was one of those things like, yeah, but he wasn't super great his junior year. He was like productive, but some of the questions you guys had about his game, and then you didn't get to see anything his senior year because he tore it even before the first game. He didn't play at all his senior year and had committed to Baylor. But yeah, I liked what I saw out of his junior tape. I said I had him rated as a 4-star for me in that class. I was by far the highest. I think you were the next closest, had him as like a middle 3-star. I think you had him like a 0.65 something, I think. Or that might have been Matt. I don't remember. I had the grades pulled up one point because I tweeted out about it, my write-up, because I thought I gave him a pretty glowing review, and I had him just at 4-star. I think I had him at like a 0.700. So
I had Michael Turner. Where are you at, Mr. Turner? Well, it definitely wasn't a great grade.
I can find him right here. I have the
0.5833. So
okay, yeah,
I had him as like a 2-star.
Oh, nope. Matt had him. No, wait, Matt had him at Matt had him low too. Never mind. I was looking at the average grade, which was brought up by my 4-star grade. We had him at a 0.617. It's all right.
Draftable.
Yeah.
Group said he's draftable. So
yeah. Oh yeah. When I wrote him up, yeah, I'm excited. I thought my write-up has nailed exactly what he's done so far this year. Outside of me saying you might not get to play because of Bryson Washington, but yeah. Say lobby.
Joke's on us.
Joke is on us. Ooh, Jeff Sims is so bad at football.
All right, let's check in just real quick. Most of the games that were on have since wrapped up. So let's look at some of these. I've got Texas A&M. And of course I closed my main tab here.
Texas A&M won 49-25.
Yeah. Okay.
You want me to
we talked about that this morning. Yeah. Do you have them? Drop them.
Yeah. So Marcel Reed, 200 yards through the air. Again, I talked about this on College Fantasy Night last week. It's between that 160 to 200 something yard mark. 2 interceptions on this one, which kind of goes to what you and Mike were talking about with how good that LSU secondary is. 2 touchdowns. Reed, as I mentioned on the show this morning, LSU has been, weak to those rushing quarterbacks. 108 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. Ruben Owens only 44 yards on the ground. Casey Concepcion 3 for 45 and 1. Mario Craver 4 for 42. Were really the only standouts at wide receiver there for them. They did get Concepcion did get the punt return for a touchdown as well. That really kind of separated them out here. But on the LSU side, I don't think there's anything really to talk about. Nuss 22 of 35, 168 and 1. Harlem Berry 9 for 59 and 1. Barry and Bear for 4 for 60.
I thought Barry looked better this week.
Yeah. That's fair.
The last couple times that he'd played, he had looked honestly pretty bad. And we had talked about, he's just a small guy who came from a really bad level of competition in high school. And it was like, this is a bet that it's a long-term bet. It's not a short-term bet. I thought he looked a little better tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And what I will also say is I don't think Nussmeier looked horrible until it looked like he got banged up again. There was a hit in the second quarter where it didn't even look like they really drove him into the ground, but they kind of like hit him and went down to the ground with him, and he got up. And it was one of those things like he was jogging to the sidelines. It was on a 3rd down. It's like his arm was kind of like holding to his side. And I don't know if it was like a shoulder because it didn't look like he hit his shoulder in the ground, but he just looked beat to hell. So like I think clearly, it was something coming into the season. There were all the rumors he might miss the year because of some kind of injury. He's played. He has not been healthy. He's got 1 year of eligibility left?
I don't know if he hasn't. Out. He's been around for forever.
He might be out.
I'm still dug in on Nussmeier. I'm sorry. I just think it's so obvious that he's been hurt this year.
Oh, I don't disagree. But that's what I was going to say. If he's got the year of eligibility, it might help him to be able to come back and just try and play a healthy year and show everybody.
He doesn't have anymore.
Okay, yes, I didn't think he was horrible until that part, and you could clearly tell he was hurt by the way he was going to the sideline. Like he was just like, and again, because it didn't look like one of those like the Quinn Ewers hit a couple years ago, right, against Alabama. Who was a Dallas Turner, I think, just drove him into the ground, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, Ewers is done. It wasn't a hit like that, but you could tell Nuss was just in a ton of pain, and it just looks like he's just beat to hell this year. And some of that I think is probably just that LSU team is not good, and Brian Kelly's a fraud. I'm going to say it every chance I get.
I'm sure you will. Tennessee, I think that game is over. It's over. It is. Yeah. It's over. It's final. How bad are you if you let Kentucky score 34 on you? This Tennessee team's a little fraudulent as well. There's a lot of fraud going on in college. We need some white collar crime people to come in here and sweep these streets up. In terms of stats on the day, Joey Aguilar had almost 400 yards passing and 3 passing touchdowns. They didn't really run the ball much in this one, which I thought was interesting, but Kentucky does have a pretty staunch run defense. So I guess they just were, throwing away from that. Chris Brazzell, 4 for 138 and 1. Mike Matthews, 6 for 107 and 1. Braylon Staley, 6 for 105. Pretty much everything going on there. Rodarius Jackson, the true freshman, did have 1 for 19. Yeah. I don't think he's anywhere close to year 1-0 thresholds, but just something to note. And get this, they let Cutter Boley throw for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns today. Oof. Not great there. DJ Miller, the leading receiver on the day, 5 for 120 and 2. And Kendrick Law, 2 for 103 and 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, look, congrats to Joey Aguilar. You know what the one thing it says to me is, like, again, just gives me even more concern for a team like Texas that they couldn't do anything like what Tennessee did today. And you would think Texas and their offense would be much better. And then we watch Joey Aguilar and the Tennessee Volunteers go out there and do this to the Kentucky defense.
Yeah. Yeah, Kentucky's been pretty stiff this year, though. So
yeah,
against pretty much everybody. So I think, Tennessee's been a little bit on a downslide lately. That is kind of an interesting, item there for them. And then what was the other games that are going on? Utah is spanking Colorado right now. I don't know.
I think Dan Pierre is he back in? I know he got hurt. I don't know there's much talk about here. I mean, yeah, Caden Salter's been pretty bad. Yeah, Bird Ficklin has been in, and Orion Phillips. Looks like that Dampier's not playing in this one.
I don't even know if Dampier was playing. So.
Yeah. An interesting one, too, and I don't know. I was trying to find it. I guess maybe Novosad is hurt. Dante Moore got hurt in the Oregon game.
Yeah.
And got pulled out, and they played Brock Thomas, not Austin Novosad. They really just ran the ball, though. Brock Thomas, I think, had 5 passes in the game. Let me pull this back up. Sorry, 4 passes. He was 4 for 4. But they really just kind of leaned on Jordan Davison and Noah Whittington on that one, which is fair. I mean, Wisconsin is, like I said, I would not be surprised if Fickle's fired. There is one game that I wanted to touch on because the team that they lost, and they're probably out of playoff contention, but I didn't think their backup quarterback looked that bad. Matt Zollers is probably the Missouri quarterback the rest of the year. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we don't know for sure about Perbula, but for it to be a leg injury, the way it happened, and to be carted off, my guess is he's probably done for the year. I thought Zollers looked...
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see what happened. I just saw the fact that he got carted off, and I don't know if it was one of those, like, if you're queasy, don't watch injuries. So
you couldn't really see it because it happened under a pile, but it was like very obvious what happened. Like leg got pinned, and then 300-pound dude comes in from the opposite side and bent him backwards.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I saw him get carted off. And then obviously as soon as I saw Zollers was in, it's like, oh, this is going up. I'm putting this up right next to Alabama because I want to see what happens. Obviously good for Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia to get that win. Look, Zollers had the Hail Mary to the 1-yard line. Like they were that close to getting in and possibly tying this game. I don't think that Zollers looked horrible, especially for a true freshman. He was 14 to 23, 138 yards in the touchdown, was running around a little bit back there. Look, again, I think that kind of knocks them out of playoff contention. They do get the Aggies next week, so it's a tough matchup for a true freshman in Matt Zollers. I'm sorry, they get 2 weeks, actually. They have a bye this week, so 2 weeks to get Zollers ready.
Yeah, it's a
for
good
Texas
time to
A&M.
Have this happen, I guess.
Yeah, and then you get Mississippi, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Look, I love me some Matt Zollers. I'm excited to see what he does the rest of the year. Because again, I don't think Perbula is coming back, and the fact that he went in, Arizona State game's over, by the way. I'm excited. Look at our boy Connor Wigman just leading Houston to all kinds of wins. Or that's not our boy. That was who loved Connor Wigman? Was that Colin?
I liked Wigman.
Oh, did you? I knew I liked him too. I didn't want to throw you under that bus with me, so I just wanted to make sure. So. Yeah, right. I mean, excited.
I'm calling this. Okay. It's been we hit our hour. We've covered all the games. Thank you to everybody who tuned in live, or if you're listening on the podcast feed, check out the YouTube channel. Make sure you're checking out the other shows here on the podcast channel. We will be back next weekend. You're going to be the pumpkin patch.
No, it's because
you're going Friday.
Family will be in town though. So Saturday night.
No.
Actually, I'll be FC Dallas playoff game. Season ticket holder. I'll be there. If you want to wait, you can't wait for me. The game starts at 8:30 my time. Never mind.
Good night, everybody.